Welcome to another episode of the Booked and Paid Speaker Blueprint. If you haven't already, please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're finding us on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and make sure that you never miss an episode. Today, episode 4, we're going to talk about speaker fees. And it's something that I talk a lot about when I'm working one-on-one with our booked and paid speaker clients. Everybody wants to get the $10,000 gig. Everybody wants to be paid $20,000, $50,000. Gary Vaynerchuk gets $100,000 a talk. But how did he start doing that? Gary Vaynerchuk, first speaking gig was $5,000. And most people dream of having $5,000. They've been doing it for a little bit, trying to figure this out, but they still haven't reached that pinnacle, that moment where they get that $5,000 check. They're stuck at the $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 range. In this episode, I'm going to teach you how to find the speaking gigs that pay those amounts, where the averages are, the organizations, and what you can do to help command the fees that you're looking for. I have meetings with event planners all the time. And what they tell me is, I'm not really sure how to pay the speaker or what the speakers are worth. Here's what I tell them. In the speaker world, you get what you pay for. If you look like a $500 speaker, then that's what you're going to be paid. If you look like a $10,000 speaker, then that's what you'll be paid. Recently, I was looking through some old graphics and some videos, and they were atrocious. I looked at my old graphics that I had on the website, and it was really bad. Once I fixed these, I then noticed an increase in speaker fee amount. Now, sometimes the organizations, like an association, only has a $2,500 or $3,500 budget. At that point, you get to be the person that decides, should I do this or should I not? For me, traveling all the way from the East Coast, I'm probably not going to go all the way to LA or anywhere in California for $2,500. Washington, Oregon, Mexico, those are not inviting places for me to go for $2,500. But I might go to Texas, to San Antonio for $2,500. I have a lot of friends that live there. I might go to Utah. I might go to Florida. If there was a $2,500 or $3,500 gig and it's in Orlando, and let's say it's hosted at Disney World, I'll go. I'll hang out at Disney World for $2,500. You get to make the decision on whether you take the speaker fee or not. If somebody offered you in your hometown a speaking gig for $1,500, $2,500, $3,500, are you going to turn them down? There isn't another profession where you get paid $2,000 an hour. Not that I'm aware of. Maybe a doctor, maybe a lawyer. There's like $250, $300, $500 an hour. They're not $2,000 an hour. What most people are concerned about are the travel expenses that go along with traveling in person. I've done a lot of virtual speaking, and the companies will pay you $1,500, $1,000, $2,500, $2,000. That's right around the average that some of these virtual events will pay. It's up to you what you ultimately will take as a fee and what you won't. Here's my advice. Visibility begets visibility, meaning in order to speak, you got to have video of you speaking. In order to get video of you speaking, you have to be speaking. Sometimes I'm not going to be picky and choosy if it's a massive event, if it's at Disney World, if it's let's say it's a 800 person event and their speaker fee is $3,500. I want the video of me speaking in front of 800 people. The optics are better. If I said, oh, I got a $5,000 speaking fee and 10 people were in the audience, in a speaker reel, it may not look as sexy as someone who is speaking in front of 750 people and is only paid $3,000. Honestly, nobody in the audience knows what you made. Nobody at home knows what you made. Nobody on social media knows what you were paid. Half the speakers are even lying. They're like, I get $25,000 a gig. And I'll ask them, like, name me one place that pays that. Like, well, I don't disclose that. Like, so maybe they don't, or maybe they're lying. I know what I'm paid. I know what other people are paid. And if you want to get paid the $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 speaking fees, you have to know how to look like that type of speaker. When I'm talking to the event planners, I tell them, you get what you pay for. Anything between like 1,000, maybe to like 2,500, 3,500, you're speaking to associations, you're speaking to high schools, colleges, a couple corporate companies, maybe, but associations are always about 2,500 to 3,500. Now, some associations are 35, 55, 6,500. Some colleges I've been paid 6,500. It just depends on what the budget is. Most associations won't pay more than 2,500 to 3,500 for a speaker. The Young Professionals Organizations is a great group to speak in front of. They only pay between 1,500 and 2,500 because they don't have a big budget. When I'm asking event planners about their budgets, about what they're looking for in a speaker, I'm gathering the intel so that I know how to price. If I just say my speaker fee is $10,000 and somebody with a $2,500 budget's like, oh, can't afford you, next. Well, hold on a second. Maybe it's in Michigan. Maybe it's in Ohio. Maybe it's in Chicago. Maybe it's in Pennsylvania. I drove 6 hours to Pennsylvania to speak at an event for $1,500 because that opened the door to many more speaking gigs. Sometimes when you speak for an association, the members of the association are businesses or certain corporations, or maybe they're teachers. For example, if I spoke at the School Nutrition Association, the directors of the state associations are all in that group. So I go on stage, I do well. Each of those states, because they all send representatives, can hire me to speak at their state conference. So when you look at associations, there's local, regional, state, and then national level. A good rule of thumb when speaking for associations is speak nationally, sleep locally. I want to see what national associations are having conventions near where I live. Now, if you live in Dallas, if you live in Houston, if you live in Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Orlando, big hubs, Nashville's good. If you live in big cities or you're near a big city, figure out what national conventions are happening there. A lot of times the associations all come together as executive directors or executive committees, but the national conferences are the biggest group of association members. They pay 25, 35, 45 sometimes, while the regional or local ones will pay 1,500, 2,000, 2,500. It's all the budget they have. I want to speak at a national conference. I want to speak at a national association convention because each of those members are from different states. They have an opportunity to bring you in to speak at their event, to their company. I spoke at the School Nutrition Association, and every single person in that room was an executive director of their state level association. That's 50 people that could bring me in to speak at their place because they host conferences and need speakers. If you want to look the part, there's a few things you need to do. You have to have a professional headshot. You also have to have a professional website. You also have to have a professional speaker reel. You also need to have keynote topics, and they accompany 3 key takeaways. I invite you to go look at my website, The Success Core, spelled CORPS, thesuccesscore.com/speaking, and you'll be able to see exactly what my speaker page looks like. It has an introductory. It has my keynote topics or my keynote titles, 3 key takeaways from each of those titles, videos of me speaking, videos of me on podcasts and different TV interviews that I've done, and also has testimonials. It also has a place of where I've spoken. You can see the associations, you can see the events, you can see the companies. TEDx is on there. It's all social proof. If you want to command the $5,000, $10,000 fees, you have to look the part. No one is going to give you $10,000 if you come in a t-shirt and jeans. You are not Tony Robbins. You are not Gary Vee. So you need to do better. Again, Gary Vaynerchuk was a YouTube sensation long before he was running businesses, long before he's allowed to wear a t-shirt and jeans at a $5,000 talk. He was on the news. He's got the credibility. People know who he is. You don't have that credibility and that authority yet. So you got to look professional. Got to have a collared shirt, maybe a suit, maybe a dress. You have to look like a professional, and you'll be paid like a professional. Something that I tell the event planners as well, when they're asking me what speakers are worth, and I'll say associations are 25 to 35, colleges are about 35, 45, 55, national conferences, big conferences are about 45 to 65. Some colleges can go up to 65. At that point, you get what you pay for, right? At that point, you've established yourself. You've got the speaker reels. You're really, really well spoken on stage. You command the $5,000 gig. After you get to 75, you have to have the background. If I go for a leadership talk, I'm a certified John Maxwell leadership speaker. If I go to a leadership conference, I better be able to back it up. And what I tell them is I'm a certified John Maxwell leadership speaker, and I spent 20 years in the military living, leading, and working with teams all around the world. Leadership is something that I know. I command the fee based on that background. Now, if somebody told me like, yeah, we're really looking for a speaker on dental. I don't know anything about dental stuff. I have speakers for that. If somebody asked me, I need somebody to talk about equality, or I need someone to talk about creating a YouTube channel for a podcast. I don't talk about that, but I know someone who does. You need to stay in your lane, and you need to just speak on your expertise. I don't pretend that I can speak on everything, because if you try to speak to everyone, you speak to no one. So I speak on resilience, leadership, team building and team performance, and business positioning strategies. That's it. And even inside business positioning, I don't really talk about YouTube. That's not what I do. If someone wants that, I know where to find them. I have the speakers for that. I tell them exactly what I do. I'm a certified master resilience speaker. I'm a certified John Maxwell leadership speaker, and I built 4 successful businesses over the last 20 plus years. I also served in the United States Air Force for 20 years. That's my background, and that's it. I don't try to fluff it up, because they're going to look at your social media, they're going to look at your website, and they say there's no way that this guy did this or this person did what they're saying. Stay in your lane. And what I tell speakers, make one talk and do it very well. Make $100,000 from that talk. Then you can give yourself permission to go on to more keynotes. Be known for that one thing. And you're not a motivational speaker. There's millions of those people. You're not an inspirational speaker. You're not a transformational speaker. You speak in a motivational style. You speak to inspire the audience. You speak to transform the audience. So what do? You got to create your category. For me, I'm a master resilience speaker. I'm a certified resilient speaker and trainer, certified John Maxwell leadership. That's all I have to say. You're looking for a leadership speaker? I'm a certified John Maxwell leadership speaker. And they're like, got it. Okay, that fits. I also had 20 years of experience in the military where I've lived, worked, and led teams all around the world. They're like, got it. So I've already made my authority very clear. I don't have to fish for it. The fact that you have a book doesn't exactly make you an authority. But if you had the experience to back it up, that's what's going to command the feed. So I just want to recap really fast, because that was a lot of information. Associations, high schools, some colleges, they range between 1,500 to 35, sometimes 4,000. 3,500 is about where they're at. Then you go into a little bit higher. Some colleges have budgets up to 65. Most conferences can pay between 45 and 65. It's kind of the average. If you're a really good speaker, you can ask between 4,500 and 65. Notice I don't say between 4,000 and 6,000. The psychology behind that is, if I tell you that my speaker fee is 5,000, you heard 1,000. But if I tell you that my speaker fee is 5,500, you heard 100. Psychology kind of comes into play. And that's why a lot of things end in 7. Like my program is $497, $97, $17. Like the psychology behind the 7 makes it feel like you're getting a deal. That's all that is. Your speaker fee can be whatever you want it to be. But if they don't have the budget, if you go to an association, like I'm 10,000, like we can't afford you. And they're like, okay, bye. So you pretty much price yourself out. So here's what I say. When I'm talking to an event planner, they're telling me about everything that they need. One of the first questions they ask is, what is your speaker fee? So that's a really great question. My speaker fee is all inclusive and up to a full day. I strive to work within the budget that you've established. What is the number that you're trying to stay within to make this an easy yes? They're like, well, if we could do like 35, maybe 45, like if that's what your budget is, I can work within the budget. Now, again, if I'm going from the East Coast and I got to fly all the way to like Hawaii, is 2,500 going to be enough? You get to decide that. If I'm local within my state and somebody says, yeah, our speaker fee is like 35, I'm going to say yes. Like, absolutely. I've done it for 25. I drove 40 minutes down the road to a high school and spoke for an hour on leadership to the student council, and they paid $1,000. I drove 40 minutes to a high school, spoke for $1,000, drove home, and had the rest of my day to do whatever. I will do that all the time. If I could do that 5 times a month locally and do $1,000 gigs 5 times a month, I would literally do that, because there's no expenses. It's local and it's 2 hours out of my day. So it comes out to what, $500 an hour, $1,000? I mean, I'll do that all day long, but I'm not going to go to Florida for $1,000 or go to Dallas. I'm not going to fly to Dallas for $1,000. The plane tickets alone are $400 and $500. So you get to decide what makes sense for you. If you want the $10,000 speakers, I tell the event planners straight up, if you are going to pay a speaker $10,000, they better be some kind of a millionaire. They better have some kind of a background that warrants it. You better get 10x from the audience. Like if you pay somebody $10,000 for a marketing speaker, they better be able to give you $100,000 worth of strategy. If you're going to command $5,000 in a speaker fee, you should be able to give $50,000 worth of advice. A lot of speaking isn't just rah, 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 like on stage and being motivating. You also have to give key takeaways. You also have to give strategies. You also have to give something for the audience to do after the event. Otherwise, they could just listen to a Tony Robbins UPW tape from 1985 and they can get the same amount of motivation. If you're going to command $7,000, $10,000, $20,000, you're either going to be a celebrity, TikTok famous, Instagram famous, You better have built a whole bunch of businesses worth millions of dollars, like something of significance that warrants it. And I tell that to event planners all the time. And they say, well, we paid our last speaker, let's say it's 7,000. We paid our last speaker 7,000. I'm like, great. Who was that? What's their background? And they always will have something significant that they're looking for. These companies are not, after the pandemic, they're not going to pay you 20 grand just to go rah, rah, rah on stage and razz everybody up. They want substance. And if you're going to get 20,000, you better be able to back it up. I say all that to say, when you're a speaker talking about your speaker fee to an event planner, they have 3 ideas in their head automatically. 1, is this person worth the money? 2, can I trust the keynote spot? Can I trust this event with this speaker? And 3, can they back up what they're talking about? They're trusting you to get the outcome that they want. I'm hired a lot for team building. When I go into a company and I stumble over words, or I go halfway on something and they're like, what is he even talking? Like, what? And they pay me, let's say it's 5 or 10 grand. And I'm like, here's how you become a great team. And they're like, what? Like, it's not going to go over well because you will be found out. So when they hire me to do team building, I go right away into, here's what I'm going to talk about. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's the team building exercise. This is the outcome. Because as a speaker, you're selling outcomes. And if they don't think that your outcome is valuable, they're not going to pay you for it. They might pay you $2,000 because it's not a big loss to them. But they lose $2 grand. It's like, nah, well, that sucked. But they're not going to trust you with a $5,000 or $10,000 gig if you don't look like you know what you're doing. And so as we close, that's what I want you to know. Your website, your speaker reel, your headshots, your keynote talk titles, everything needs to solve a problem and have a very specific outcome. Because if it doesn't, you're not going to get those fees. You have a choice. You could be a speaker plus expenses, or you can have a speaker who's all inclusive. When I'm talking to an event planner, I specifically say my speaker fee is all inclusive and up to a full day. All inclusive meaning that I pay for my own travel and expenses at no extra cost to you. I don't nickel and dime you, the company, or the event planner for the first class ticket, BMW rental car, or the presidential suite. I say that because I'm positioning myself differently from a lot of other speakers. If you want to be a speaker that is plus expenses, go right ahead. More than likely, I'm going to be booked over you because I'm already telling the event planner, they're going to book you for a rental car, the presidential suite, first class flight. You're going to pay for that. So plan on another extra $2 grand in expense. And they're like, I don't want to do that. I'm all inclusive. We're like, we'll hire you. These are the conversations that I literally have with the event planner. And so if you're a new speaker, if you've been speaking for a little bit, this is the only thing that I coach speakers to say. Your speaker fee is all inclusive and up to a full day. Now, some of them will say, I need a number. Like, that's fair. My average speaker fee is between $4,500 and $6,500. That's average of what I've been receiving. Or you can say something like, my average speaker fee is between $4,500 and $6,500. I'd love to work within your budget to make that happen. But that's kind of the average that I receive is between $4,500 and $6,500. And then don't say anything. Just be quiet. Because if you say, but I'll go lower, then they know that you're not legit. So keep that in mind. If you have any questions whatsoever, please email me at Sean, SEAN, at thesuccesscourse.com. Check out our book to paid speaker blueprint, where I teach you these exact strategies. I walk you through step by step on how to be a bookable speaker that gets a resounding yes and not a quiet no. I hope that this was valuable. See you in the next episode.